Hello everyone, I'm Tahir Gani from SYMCA, and today I'll be demonstrating what is AWS CodeBuild. Right. So AWS CodeBuild is a fully managed continuous integration service that compiles source code, runs tests, and produces ready-to-deploy software packages. It is a way to build and test your code with elastic scaling. So it builds your source code and runs the tests provided, and finally you get all the build files and packages that you need for deployment. Also, it has elastic scaling, which means that you don't have to manage the build servers and its configurations. AWS does that automatically for you. Now, what are the advantages of using AWS Code Build? Right. So first is that you don't have to set up or manage your own build servers. And second is that it automatically scales so that your builds are not waiting in a queue to run. Right. Now, a common question one must have is why not use Jenkins? Right. So Jenkins is by far the more complex of the two options to set up and also to maintain. And AWS Code Build provisions all the infrastructure for you so that there are no servers to look after, right? But if you want, you can use the Jenkins plugin for AWS Code Build to integrate Code Build with your Jenkins build jobs. Right. Now, how CodeBuild works is that it will launch Docker containers for us, provision them, and then shut down after the builds and tests are done. So we pay only for the build time that we use. Right. So you can do various types of testing like performance testing, function testing, integration testing, testing, etc. using CodeBuild. So also another common question that you might have is that why not do testing in Lambda when you can do it right in Lambda, right? So why don't we use Lambda and why we need CodeBuild? So I'll explain that while I'll be creating a demo project. So I have this example app here in my GitHub. It just has an index.html and a buildspec.yaml. I'll explain what this buildspec.yaml is. So let's click on create project on our CodeBuild, and we'll enter the project name. Let's say example app. Let's say test web app, right? And you can put any description you want. And our provider is GitHub because our project is on GitHub. And I'll select repository in my GitHub and I'll select my example app repository, right? And if you have not already connected your GitHub here, it will show connect with GitHub. So just click on that and put your username and password and log into your GitHub, and then it will authorize it, right? And in operating system, select Amazon Linux 2, and runtime select the standard, and in image select the latest one, right? And here it is, the build spec file, right? So this build spec file is basically a settings file that will tell code build how to perform the testing and everything, right? So this is our build spec file, and as you can see, we have various commands here, what we want to run. So it is the install phase. It specifies what all packages we want to install. So here we have specified Node.js, and here we have the pre-build phase, we have build phase, and we have post-build phase, right? So here we have defined a single test, and here we are saying that if this index.html file does not contain welcome, so we consider that as a bug, right? So this is a basic testing. You can do more complex testing here, right? And here is our index.html file, so it does contain welcome, right? So it should not fail. That is it. And yeah, so now we'll go. So what this artifact is, this artifacts are the files that will be received after the testing is done, and the code build has built your files. So your deployment files will be stored as artifacts, right? Now these logs are very important. So as your code build is serverless, right? So it runs, boots up a server, but it will be shut down after every build, right? So all the logs that are generated during that session will be gone. But if you want those logs, then you have to use CloudWatch or S3 to store those logs, right? So this is very important to use CloudWatch here. So now you click on create build project. Right, now our project has been created successfully, and now I'll just click on this start build, and you can see that it is in progress. And now I'll tell you why we don't use Lambda. So you can go in build details, and you can see here we have a timeout of 45 minutes. Uh, but in Lambda, you only have a maximum timeout limit of 15 minutes, right? So you cannot do a lot of things. But for code build, you can set a timeout anywhere between 5 minutes to 8 hours, right? So that is a huge difference. That's why we use code build for, you know, testing purposes. Now let's wait for it to build. And you can see all the details in which phase it is. So it is a submitted phase, it is done, queued phase, etc. And all the logs will be displayed here. Right. So now our build has been succeeded, and to see the entire log, we can click on this, and this will take us to the CloudWatch console. Yeah, and here we can see all the logs that we had. So you can see this is the pre-build phase, post-build phase, and all the messages that we code. Right, we are in the pre-build phase, we are in the build phase, right, and at last it is succeeded. Right. So yeah, this is how we use code build. Thank you.